Hey y'all, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Thursday, and that means it's Shades of Bravo Day. And today I have a Bravo superfan, a Bravo ingenue, some may say. It's Christian Gray Snow, who you know from his amazing Instagram. And the last 2 years we hung out at BravoCon, and I was like, you got to come on and talk about this.
Exactly. So here we are finally making it happen.
Here we are. Okay, now first of all, your Instagram has like a zillion people on it, like 65,000, something crazy. And I am out here, literally, I say it every week. People are so sick of me saying it, but I'm like, whose dick does Brielle have to suck to get me more Instagram followers? Like really.
Yeah.
And so you need to teach me your ways. But I was just looking at your Instagram. I was like, well, no wonder. It's so your Instagram is so amazing.
Oh, thank you. Listen, it's been a long time coming. I probably should have more followers than I do if you really break it down and do the math. Um, but it's just something that kind of evolved naturally. Like it's my personal name on the account. It's my
Yeah.
personal Instagram that I've had since Instagram started. And it just kind of eventually turned into me sharing memes that I was, just kind of like, oh, this is how I feel about my shows, and then it just kind of went from there. And
Do you
yeah,
have like another Instagram account that's just for like friends and family where you actually post like pictures of your life?
no, no, this is it. Looking back, definitely should have separated the two.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like whenever I was like started making memes and stuff back in the day, um, like I didn't really think of like accounts as Bravo content creators. Like I just thought that they were like fun fan accounts that people ran, and then but now looking back, it's like I really wish I would have established like an identity and a brand like kind of outside of my personal name.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean it works.
But you have such a great name. And so I asked you when we were in one of those VIP rooms, I was like, what's your real name? And you're like, this is my real
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. And also, because I used to have the Slut Pig podcast and I still have the Slut Pig shop, um, people jokingly call me Slut Pig, a lot. And
So nice.
so, yeah, which I, appreciate, love. Like when I first moved to Seattle, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I don't live there anymore. I was only there for like a year, but when I first moved there, I was in a gay bar in the bathroom at Union, and I literally heard someone yell "Slut Pig," and it's Dennis. He became one of my good friends. So I love
That's
that. But
hilarious.
yeah, but even at BravoCon, someone came up to me and they're like, "You're Slut Pig, right?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And they're like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Oh, my name is Christian. Nice to meet you." So yeah.
Because isn't Christian Grey the name of the guy from 50 Shades of Grey?
Yes. So my name had no significance whatsoever until 50 Shades of Grey. And then a lot of people associate Snow with like Jon Snow or from Game of Thrones or
Uh-huh.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but my name was, very, very boring and got no one's attention until 50 Shades of Grey came out. Yeah, but like my grandpa's middle name was Gray, my dad's middle name is Gray, and my middle name is Gray. So,
Well, we discussed this at BravoCon with all the men in my family on the one side having the middle name Payne. And then, of course, I was lucky enough they stuck it on me because my dad was like, well, I'm going to have 3 girls. I guess somebody's going to have it. So I got it, Mary Payne.
I
But
love it.
people don't call you Christian Grey like double. It's just Christian. Yeah.
No one calls me Christian Gray. My friends, like in group chats, call me CGS.
Uh-huh.
Everyone else calls me Christian. I have one aunt in my family she's always called me Gray, like since I was a kid. But she's the only
Oh,
person that's ever done that. But
cute.
she always has. Yeah. So, but other than that, Christian.
I love it though. But I mean, so, okay, Slut Pig is from the OC. I'm trying
Beverly
to remember.
Hills.
It's from Beverly Hills.
Hmm.
This was when Kim and Kyle were yelling at
Brandy.
Brandy.
Game night, yes. Game night at Dana Wilkie's house.
Uh-huh.
Camille was there. I think Adrian was there.
This is when they hid her crutches.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay.
And that's when she said, "At least I'm not doing crystal meth in the bathroom all night long, bitch." And one of my favorite moments in all of reality TV is when Kyle and Kim both and at the same exact moment leaped up off that couch and they're like, you know what? And Kim, you better watch your fucking step. I love that one. And people have asked why Slut Pig, and I'm like, it just represents all that housewives should be. It's like just being caught up in your feelings and saying something that you mean that's silly, and it's just silly. But but she said it with her whole heart in the moment, and so
she felt she was a slut pig in that moment.
Exactly. And and then she created a term out of it. Like, who would have known? So I just find it never fails to make me laugh, so yeah.
I think I was confusing it with a past episode, like old school OC with the Naked Wasted.
Oh, yes.
Confusing that with Naked Wasted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that might have been, I think that was a bunko night too. So it was a game night.
They wanted to get Gretchen naked wasted and then have her do something to embarrass a relationship. I can't remember.
Yes. And Tamara and Simon, I think that's when Simon was like opening up a tequila business or something. So they were like, had all this like tequila to sample or something. Yeah.
It was bad. That was Vicky's original face. Yeah. Yes.
Well, there have been a few little tweaks here and there over the years. Yes. So
she looks great. She
great. She does. I will say at BravoCon, I mean, I hadn't seen Vicky in probably I don't think I'd seen her in almost a year. And so I saw her and I was like, damn, like she looks good. And everyone around, like when I was at panels and stuff that she was on, people were like, God, Vicky looks great. And I was like, looks better than I do. Get it, girl.
Now, explain how you have become friendly with some of these housewives, because you're friendly with Vicky. Now, I don't know did I tell you this story about last year at BravoCon? On the last night we were there, we were at the Gansevoort in the downstairs bar, hanging out with this woman all night. Her name was Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen.
All night.
Know Mary Ellen. I love Mary Ellen. I knew
hanging out, having the best time. And I said, well, what, because she seemed to be just like there as like, I just happened to be in this hotel and this crazy shit's happening. And as we're talking after hours, I go, so you're not here with anybody from Bravo? You just happen to be at this hotel for business? And she was like, oh, well, I'm just here with my sister-in-law. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, who's your sister-in-law? And she's like, Vicki Gunvalson. I was like, well, you buried the lead, Mary Ellen.
Yeah.
Because we've been sitting here for hours and you can, I was like, let's go get her. Let's go wake her up. And she's like, yeah, no. But Mary Ellen is the sister of Vicky's first husband, the Wolfsmith. That's the father to Brianna and Michael, right?
Yep.
She was a blast.
Mary Ellen like Vicky is a whoop it up good time girl. Mary Ellen is a whoop it up good time girl. I think the first time I met Mary Ellen, okay, so I'll answer your question and it will also lead to Mary Ellen. Okay.
Okay. Hey y'all, I love high-end luxury goods as much as the next person. You guys have heard me talk about how bougie I want to be all the time, but my wallet isn't on the same page, especially after BravoCon. That is why I love Quince. You guys have heard me talk about Quince. Quince is my go-to place for luxury essentials at prices within reach, like 50 to 80% less for real. They create these timeless classics that never go out of style. You'll have them in your closet forever. They'll be your go-to pieces. You can make a capsule wardrobe out of it, which is like a fancy thing people say when they just have their basics, and then they add stuff to it. They have 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50. They have those gorgeous washable silk tops and dresses, and the most amazing pants. I just got some for my trip. The best part is Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less. And because they deal directly with the factories, they cut out the middleman. So I just told my son last night, we got to get on Quince and get all your clothes for our upcoming trip, because I've gotten him a couple of things that he loves, but now we need to get him some more. So I'm super excited to get on Quince tonight and shop. Get affordable luxury with Quince. Go to quince.com/pinkshade for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Yes, QUINCE.com/pinkshade, quince.com/pinkshade to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/pinkshade, and let me know what you got.
So obviously I'm just like Vicky Stan, have been forever. Find her to be the funniest probably human I've ever seen on television. I don't know what it is. I just think everything she does just cracks me the fuck up. That's just all there
Yeah.
is to it.
Yeah.
And so I've just always been very vocal about liking her. And then when she got demoted in season 14,
Yeah.
I've always been a huge just like supporter of the OGs, across the
Mhm.
board. I try to give the OGs their love. Like, when Sheree was let go, I hated that. When they brought her back, I loved it.
Yeah.
But as far as like long time running OGs, it felt like Vicky was the first one that had a really, really, really long time without any breaks, that
Mhm.
they were just like, okay, this is it, demotion, and it felt like obviously they were demoting her to eventually part ways.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
so I, being the OG lover that I am across the board, was like, this is the beginning of the end for my favorites. Like if they can do it to Vicky, they can do it to anyone,
That's
because
right. Yeah.
Vicky's the first, like Vicky's the OG of the OC. Like that is what she's known as in this sphere,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
realm. And so for me, it was like, yes, I was upset, really upset that they were demoting her, but also it just worried me because I was like, oh my God, like this is the beginning of the new chapter of all these, in the words of Vicky, another great, another new bitch I gotta like, they're gonna bring in all these new young girls,
Yeah.
and that kind of is what they've done. But they have also, in the meantime, started showing some love to our OGs. Like Sheree's back, Vicky's back playing around a little bit. They've had Vicky on
Yeah.
Peacock a lot. Obviously, Kyle and Teresa are still solid where they are.
Uh-huh.
So it just scared me in the beginning. Anyway. So I'm saying all that to say I started being very vocal about like, this can't happen. This can't happen. We have to love our OGs while we can. We can't demote them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there ended up being someone who followed me. And her name's Annalisa, and Annalisa works at one of Vicky's insurance branches in Colorado.
Okay.
And so Vicky was doing some like finance podcast or something a couple of years ago. This is probably like right around the time of the pandemic, maybe like right after it. I don't know.
Okay.
And Mary Ellen was helping her book people and all that stuff. And she reached out and asked me to be on episode 1 because she was like, I just know that like, you're like the biggest Vicky supporter that I follow. And I think, since she's not on the show and stuff, it would be fun to have somebody who wants to come and talk with her about the show, and just kind of celebrate.
Okay.
I was like, cool.
So Vicky was starting a podcast.
Yes, it was called
Okay.
like Financially Fabulous with Vicky or something. This was like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And
So what it was about finance.
It was about finance, yes.
Okay,
But then she
all
just
right.
kind of like talked about, housewife stuff here and there.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure that's how we got connected. Annalisa had me on, so we had like a little Zoom session for the podcast. And then there was another time where we did like an IG live or something, and then we just kind of connected from there, like on social. And then the first time we met, it was her breakup party from Steve in Vegas, where she had at the like Hustler Club or whatever.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, she just DM'd me and was like, I would, you've always been supportive and I appreciate it. I would love if you and your friends want to come. And I was like, count us in. We're fucking coming, So I flew from Seattle. I had friends fly from LA. Maggie, Best of Bravo, flew from Nashville. We were in Vegas for like 48 hours. And that's where we met Vicky. I met her in the lobby of her hotel. I think it was the Caesars. And we met there, got on a little party bus, went to the strip club, whooped it up. And in that group that night with her was Mary Ellen.
Yes.
And
okay.
So that's how Mary Ellen and I clicked, and Mary Ellen fell in love with me and John Blizzard, my friend who was there, Maggie, so we all had a ball that night. We really did.
John Blizzard, you guys, if that name is familiar, because he worked for Vanderpump Dogs and was involved in the Lucy Applejuice Puppygate.
Mm-hmm.
When I was at BravoCon and I was doing like some live updates for the Patreon and Supercast, I was like, and then I saw my friend Mandy Slutzker and she was with this guy that was the Lucy Applejuice guy. I was like, his name is John and it sounds like something. Maybe it's a palm tree. I could not remember Blizzard for the sound of it. For the life of me, I couldn't remember Blizzard, but it came to me later. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends. He was with me at BravoCon. He didn't go to BravoCon, but he was part of my group at BravoCon. So I was like splitting my time at BravoCon and then with friends outside of that. But yeah, so that's how Vicky and I met. And then from there, I think she extended an invite down for her birthday party in Mexico.
Oh my
So
gosh.
Blizzy and I went down for that, and yeah, just been cool ever since. She really is like the coolest, nicest person. She's so funny. She loves to have a good time. Very motherly. She's just
Yeah.
so like sweet and nurturing. Yeah, so I'm really grateful that we've had the chance to connect and become cool. It's awesome.
Well, tell the story. So Vicky received, listen, it was the sweetest thing when she was on Watch What Happens Live and Andy announced that she was getting the Lifetime Achievement
Oh,
Award. And she was like, "What? Me?"
yeah.
It was like Sally Field, like, you like me. You really
You
like me.
really, really like me.
It
Yeah.
was such a moment on Watch What Happens Live. And then I didn't go to that night. I went to the last night of BravoCon. It was like the shade room, whatever.
Oh
It
yeah, the
wasn't great.
reading room or whatever.
Yeah, but, so tell me about that and how you got tickets to that.
So, if you don't know, BravoCon allegedly, apparently, I'd heard this from a couple people this year. It was really strict with like plus ones and stuff like that when it came to
Mhm.
talent.
Yeah,
And like, listen, I don't care if like I don't care if Vicky and I hung out every single day, which we don't. Obviously, we live on complete opposite ends of the country.
yeah,
If we did, if I saw her every single day, I hate to ask for stuff like that. You know what I
right,
mean? So I was like,
right.
I'm not going to ask her, but I couldn't secure a ticket up until like the week before, and then I started panicking. I was like, if I'm in Vegas and I'm seeing people post about being there to watch Vicky get her award, and these people don't even like go hard for her like I do,
Yeah,
it will destroy me.
I
Like
get it, I
I
get it.
nothing is worse than FOMO to me. Like I would
Yes.
rather die. Um, so I ended up texting her because we were talking the week before, and I was like, look, I said I hate to ask, but if anything comes up, if they give you any extras at the end, let me know. I was like, I will watch from side stage and leave as soon as your speech is over. I'll come in right, but like, well, I just want to
Yeah,
see it.
yeah,
And she was like, I can't. She said she couldn't get her boyfriend one. It was hard to get like her brother one because her brother was there. And so I was like, okay, well, if you can't get that, then it is what it is. So, and I was like, I'll wait till the last minute. There'll be something on StubHub, something.
yeah, yeah, right.
Well, then I was when I got to Vegas, I'd had a couple drinks,
Uh-huh,
naturally.
as you
And
do.
yeah, and I just posted on Instagram stories like if anybody has like a ticket, like, because also I started talking to people that would got there and like they changed their plans and they were wanting to like trade and stuff like that. I was like, if
Yes,
you have a
yes.
friend that maybe isn't feeling up to it, I'll buy it, whatever. I tagged Vicky, I tagged Bravo, and I tagged Andy. And
Okay.
then Andy responded like within like 5 minutes and was like, one ticket for the Bravos. And I was like, yeah, I just got to see Vicky, got to see this night, this moment. And he sent me his assistant's email, was like, here you go.
Ah,
Boom, like that. And so then I text Vicky, and I think that, and then so I get there to the thing, and the person sitting directly next to me is her boyfriend Michael. So I think Andy ended up hooking him up with a ticket too. So we were sitting right next to each other. I was walking up to get a drink, and he was like, "Hi." So worked out perfectly.
do you enjoy the new boyfriend? Is he good for
I
Vicky?
love him. Yes, I love him. He is a great guy. He has a wonderful daughter. She's very very sweet. I've met him a few times. He was in Mexico when I was there. He is not about the show. That's not his thing. He's just a normal, hardworking, successful guy. He's at a he's great for Vicky.
Good.
He lets her be herself. And he's just a normal guy.
Yeah.
So and he's just a sweetheart. So
And he
I
lives
like
in
him
the
a lot.
OC?
He lives in the OC, and guess what? And he has his own money, so we ain't got to worry about none of the stuff Vicky's been through in the past.
That Steve Lodge. I will tell you though that
Oh,
that Brooks, he's from my home state, Mississippi, and during all that Brooks stuff, I would like look on Facebook or whatever, and I was like, how do I have like 6 people that I know are friends with him? So then,
oh
of course, I'm reaching
Lord.
out to them, like, what do you know about this guy? They're like, oh, he's a swindler from way back.
No way. So that's just like
Yeah.
how he's always been.
Yeah,
Just a
they're like,
scumbag. Ugh.
but he's got like nice kids, and so that's kind of too bad because they didn't ask for this, and of course their dad's getting blasted all over. So, well, you shouldn't fake cancer, and then maybe you won't get
Hello.
blasted. Yeah, I mean, that
Ugh.
seems pretty easy. Well, Now, let me ask you if we're talking about controversial opinions. I love
Mhm.
Vicky. Listen, I've said a million times, who's the person you want to meet at BravoCon? I'm like, Vicky. I want to meet Vicky.
Aw.
I didn't meet her. I did see her passing me by. She was leaving the VIP lounge. I was going in, and I like got a picture of the side of her head. Um, but explain to me why you stan Teresa so much. I'm not a Teresa
Well,
hater. I'm just not a Teresa stan.
yeah. I mean, it really goes back to OGs again.
Okay.
Like, I mean, look at my sweater right now. I'm literally wearing all the OGs from each city.
Yes,
So
you are.
it's about respect. It's
Okay.
about respecting the people who laid the foundation. And listen, I've never once denied that Teresa has done things or said things that she probably shouldn't have over the course of 13 seasons now. I guess it's about to be.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, and I know that this is the crazy thing about Bravo is that we can all go to BravoCon and whoop it up and have the best time, and then the moment we all get home, it's like keyboard warriors when it comes to Jersey. It's like very there's no middle ground. It's one side or the other, and
Yeah.
so I know that saying this a lot of people are going to be like, what a fucking idiot. But there's going to be a lot of people that say, amen. I have just never, ever not been able to see at least the family situation and the family dynamic from her side. I feel that what she says and how she feels, um, warrants value. I think it's true. I think that And again, I think that there were definitely years where it was poke, poke, poke. It was just both sides doing all that they could,
Yeah.
when spouses going at each other, like it. But I think
Yeah.
if you really break it down to
Uh-huh.
Teresa and her brother,
Uh-huh.
to me, it's always clear as day who the crazy manipulative one is out of that duo.
I know.
And
I think I have to respectfully disagree, but I,
say, oh,
I,
yeah.
but I really am just so interested. Like the Vicky one, I get the
Hmm.
Vicky one, I get, but the Teresa, I don't get it. This is why I really want you to like plead your case because I really want to like hear your side because I know that you're very well versed and very smart. So that's why I'm like, I got to hear what he has to say about this.
Yeah. And I think that to me as a viewer, I've always felt that Teresa has protected her brother. I think there's
Oh,
a lot of
okay.
things she hasn't said. I think that a lot of that had to do with her mom and dad,
Uh huh.
and things that they said to her and things that she knew or that they felt maybe
Huh.
about
Okay.
Joe or about Melissa.
Okay.
Now, this is just me as a viewer. This is,
Okay.
um, but I just feel like she's always protected him in that sense and has always just kind of taken the bullet for him. And I think that Joe reminds me of, obviously they're in two totally different realms of the financial world, but my dad's baby brother. And it reminds
Okay.
me of like little, like youngest boy, youngest kid of the family syndrome. And that they're just nurtured and taken care of forever and ever and ever. And then next thing you know, they're an adult and they can't function without, they can't be told the truth about
Uh huh.
anything. You know what I'm
Uh huh.
saying?
Uh huh.
That's just what he's always reminded me of that. And so I feel like I've seen Teresa and like the things that my dad and his siblings do, where it's like they love him, but they also have to navigate it carefully, as
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
not upset him, So that's just, and I know that there are other people that, again, that see it from the completely opposite side. I just have always felt that I feel like Teresa has tried to protect her brother and maybe how her parents really felt about his marriage. And I
Mm.
think that that's kind of what it was rooted in and where it started. And it just got very, very, very messy from the beginning. And I mean, I don't think that either of them remember why they started fighting at this
Right.
point.
Yeah. Right. Did it
But
start
it's
with
just
sprinkle
been,
cookies? We don't know. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and then you got to think. Look at all the players over the years. As far as when I say players, I mean cast members that even had a hand in it that are no longer there. Like it is such a muddy, dirty situation with people that have meddled in it over the years and aren't even in their lives anymore, compared with people that have been there with them from day one that are still there. I mean, there's just so many factors,
Yeah.
and so I just I think it is a sad situation, no doubt. Like I wish that they could come to a better place,
I
but
know.
I also think that even us as viewers and them, they've reached a better place how many times only for it to go to shit again,
Right.
And so it's like, okay, do you reach a better place, but can you even enjoy being in that good place for the fear that when something's going to go wrong?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on, like I said, I'm never like anti Teresa at all. And I like Melissa because I like to kind of look at her because she's pretty or whatever. But
She's
I,
stunning. Saw her
I
at
know,
BravoCon. She's beautiful.
yeah, she is. And I'm never like Team Melissa, Team Teresa. I'm always just kind of interested. I'm always interested. I'm always kind of just Team Margaret, really. But I am always interested in this split. And then at BravoCon, they did it last year. And then you thought, well, by this year it'll be fixed. But no, again, they did the two panels,
The
Jersey 1
panels.
and Jersey 2, because
Yeah.
they can't, which is wild that they would do
And
that. It's
and
wild that they're
the
keeping them
wild
both on
is
the
that
show.
they're just normal about it. They act like it's not a big deal. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, you have Jersey one, and it's like, no other show's doing that. I
right.
mean,
In other shows, people have big fights and they make them get on the same panel
oh yeah. I mean,
together.
look at
Yeah.
Salt Lake City. They didn't even give them a panel. Oh my gosh, I just knocked my candle over. Sorry.
Uh-oh,
Um,
don't start a fire.
oh, it's not. It's like a decorative one that's not lit. But they didn't even give Salt Lake a panel because they wanted to save their drama for the reunion. And
I
like I
know.
understand the Jersey panel, but it's all I don't know. It's just again, I think it's very very strange
It's
that they do
interesting that
that.
they're letting them both stay on because usually in something like this, like somebody's going to have to go. But when they announced that the cast is going to stay exactly the same and they're going to go forward, you were like, what?
I was like, I mean, I knew sure as the world that the day had finally come. We're getting a new New Jersey. Like
Yeah.
we've got to turn a leaf. We've got to turn a new page. Not to say that whoever gets taken off, maybe they can't come back in a year or two when the energy changes. The vibes
Yeah.
shift a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was like, we've got to something's got to switch. You know what I mean? No, and here they were, and just the fact that Teresa and Melissa filmed all
Yeah.
season without interacting with each other until the finale. Apparently, that's what there was a
Oh,
report that came out that they had no interaction until the finale, and then they fought.
well, do we know when Jersey's coming out?
I have no idea. I haven't even heard.
I have to
To be
assume
honest, well, to be honest, so it's weird. I was talking about this at BravoCon. Nothing is filming right now, Housewives wise. So like literally, no one's in production right now that I know of.
Yeah. Okay.
But we have a lot of shit on right now. Like we have Miami just
We have
came
four
on,
shows on right now. It's a
and they're
lot.
all relatively new, early in their seasons too. I mean,
Yeah.
Salt Lake's like 7, 8 episodes, so they still got at least month and a half, 2 months, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying all that to say, like, what the fuck are we going to be watching at the beginning of next year? So I'm guessing we'll get Jersey early 2024,
Yeah.
maybe Morocco. I'm hoping early 2024. Dubai. When does Dubai premiere?
I don't know. I don't fuck with Dubai. I
Really?
don't. I don't. And I listen. I was. I've watched everything. I've watched everything,
Mm.
everything. And I had not as of last year. No, earlier this year, I had never watched Miami, and it wasn't because I have anything against it. It was just sort of so overloaded, and then I cover every single 90-day show and the Love
Oh
After
God,
Lockup, and I've
how
got
do you do it? I can barely
it's
watch all the how. Oh my God, I don't know how you do it.
it's so many shows. So I never got on Miami, and then once it gets a few seasons in, you're like, well, now it's too late.
Yeah.
So I did go back and watch the original 3 seasons, and then I came and I watched because I was like, I can't just jump in. I don't know these people. So I watched the original 3 seasons, and then I just finished. So now I'm fully caught up. So when Miami started, I was like, okay, I know everybody.
Yeah.
I'm good.
We're
But
good to go.
Dubai, I don't think Dubai I'm going to have the same FOMO. I don't think 3 seasons from now I'm going to be like, oh shit, I should have watched Dubai. I just don't feel it. I don't feel
Yeah.
it.
Well, maybe it'll change. Hopefully something so crazy happens. You're like, oh my God, I got to tune in.
Maybe
Maybe.
so, maybe so. But I mean, I even watched DC. I mean, that's where I live. But I even watched DC. I mean, I've watched it all. And the fact that I hadn't watched Miami was egregious. But somehow, Christian,
And
I
Miami's
fit
like
it
the
in.
best thing on TV right now. Miami and Salt Lake are
That
just gifts
that
from above.
Adriana is such a bug. She
Let me.
bugs so bad.
She loves to get on. Like I think, and she's very smart, so she knows what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
and you
guess
saw
she
that
seems real dumb to me.
you saw that they got into it at the airport, didn't you?
I know, and that was like not even filming, right? Just somebody like caught it
No,
with an
cameras were
iPhone.
down, and they had the
Yeah.
whole damn cast on the same plane. It sounds like so. It was like, well, y'all really missed an opportunity to, you know.
She and Alexia got in a fight because what? Because she called Alexia poor or something.
She said, so I guess Alexia was just watching the episodes on the article said that she was watching the episodes on the flight home to get, caught up.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's when she was like, what the fuck? And so she saw Adriana at baggage claiming it was on, But yeah, Adriana, I think suggests that they're having like marriage issues and financial issues or something. So
The reason I started watching Miami, the reason I was like, I've got to do it. I've got to just do it. I know it's going to take forever, but I got to do it was because of Marisol and Alexia on Girls Trip season 3. I was like,
yeah.
I love them. I love them. How come I've never watched this show?
Yeah.
Like, and then I was like asking people questions. I was asking Brandy and Julie. I was like, explain to me about who's a drug kingpin. Now wait, it was like whose son beat up a homeless man. I'm so confused because they were talking about it on Ultimate Girls Trip. I was like, wait, Alexia's son hit a homeless man? What? I was
The
so
shit
confused.
that happens in these people's lives is so out. Like that doesn't happen. People don't do that shit that I know. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know
what
anybody
the
that's
fuck?
going to beat up a homeless person and film it
No.
for fun. What?
God.
God, I wonder how that kid's doing. That older kid, Peter.
I mean, I think that she talked about him in the most recent episode because he bought or she got him an apartment or he moved back close by or something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, thank God.
So we'll
Because
see.
he's like 40 years old now. He needs to, be close to his mom. Well, I do love Marisol as well. I do.
Yeah, she's fun. I need her to come out with the alcohol line immediately. I'm like, girl, come on, get on it.
She's missed a golden opportunity there.
I'm like, you would have probably. Do you know what they could make, like selling drinks and stuff, and like bottles of liquor at like BravoCon and stuff?
Yes,
that's what I. You know what I told Vicky? I was like, you need to do an Andale's pop-up bar at BravoCon. People would die.
People would die. People would die, and then they would pay hundreds of dollars a ticket to party at Andale's with Vicky.
Yes.
And
I'm like, it would be so fucking cool. Like you could sell merch, obviously, because she knows the owner of Andale's.
Well, I would hope so by now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, work something out. I think
it
would also just make a lot of people. It would be so fun. It would be so cool.
Okay, now let's talk about BravoCon. Were you there VIP 3 days like me?
Yes. So I originally only had 2. Okay, so I couldn't get the 3-day wristband when they went on sale. I was part of the debacle and the people that couldn't sleep at night for like a week. Because I thought I wasn't going to get tickets.
Yeah, devastating. Yeah.
So then it came down to 3. I had to basically get 3 individual day tickets, but to do that, it was going to cost like $700, like more in total or something to get 3 individual day than like a 3-day pass.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to do all 3 right now. I'm not doing this. I got 2. I was like, I'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
And then I was just kind of annoyed and like stressed by the whole thing that like, cause even when I got to BravoCon, people were like, well, why didn't you buy like tickets for Watch What Happens Live and Paloozas and stuff? And I was like, because I got so thrown off in the beginning, like that week that I couldn't get tickets. I was like, I was just like tunnel vision. Like I just needed to get me in the door. And then I'll figure it.
I'll figure it out. Yes. Right.
And so then it wasn't until like, when I got there and started like the first day I started having fun. Cause also, as I said earlier, I had friends there that didn't go to BravoCon and one of them, it was his birthday. So I was like, okay, well, Sunday is our last day of the trip. I'll use that to like really hang out with them all day, whatever. Well, then I got to BravoCon on Friday.
I think I saw you in the VIP lounge on Sunday.
I was having like the time of my life. And I was like, I want to come all 3 days. So I ended up meeting these lovely viewers. So I work for a local morning news show here in Charlotte. And two ladies came up to me because they watched the show I work for, Rising, here in Charlotte. And they were like, are you on Rising? And I was like, yeah, that's me, And so I started talking to them and she was like, I watched with my sons every morning. So I did like a fun little video and like sent it to her sons. And we just got to talking and turns out that they missed their kids and they were exhausted. They're like, we're tapping out after day 2. And
Uh-uh.
that's
Really?
when, yes, a nice lady from the Facebook group came up and told us, like, basically, if you go up and just tell them that your wristband is too tight, they'll cut it off. You have to pay a reactivation fee for a new one. And then she just gave it to me. And so I got to come on the third day. So that's how I got in all 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And
You know,
she told me this as I was about to Venmo somebody $250 for a ticket. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, And then that's when they came through. And I was like, damn, like meant to be. So God bless them. Yeah, I got to go on the third day because those wonderful ladies. So it was
that's
awesome.
really nice.
Yeah, very,
Well,
very nice.
I did, you got the survey that was like, would you like to give feedback about BravoCon? I
Yes.
got that, and I put the same thing on that I put. So I have a friend that works for NBC Universal. He actually works on Ultimate Girls Trip, is the show that he works on.
Nice.
And he was like, hey, he was there the whole time. I never saw him. Didn't see him last year either because he's like, crazy. I'm
It's
working. So
chaos. Yeah. Yeah.
chaos and so many staff meetings. He said everything's a staff meeting. And
Damn.
so he's like, would you, as somebody who just like went, would you have suggestions? And so the suggestions I sent to him are the same ones I sent to that survey. And a lot of them are about like, in the Bravo Paloozas, there's too many people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no like, this is for 2:00, this is for 2:30, you don't know where it's like, needs to
Oh,
be more
wow.
organized. So some tips I gave like that. The Bravo Bazaar, I thought they could have spread the booths out a little more so that when
Yes.
people are actually the celebrities coming to the booth, you have more space to move around if you're actually just trying to go to the booth next door or whatever.
Yeah. Because I felt like over by like where the like Ultimate Girls Trip like
Yeah.
carnival booth, like there was a lot of open space in between the booths there and stuff that they
Yes.
absolutely, I think, could have slid a little bit of the shops over from the
Yeah,
the
because they
Bravo
kind of had
works
it
for
all
sure.
compressed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I said, because it was so much better than New York where you were just like shoulder to shoulder.
Oh,
You couldn't even move.
so much better.
So
So much
much
better.
better. But my main thing that I said was for Bravo content creators, whether it be an Instagram or a blog or a podcaster or what, we need some love. Number one, we content creators need a special wristband, and we can get a VIP ticket or whatever, maybe with a discount or something, because all we're
Yes.
doing is promoting Bravo.
Literally, I looked. I think I did like 15 page posts and
Yeah.
probably like 75 stories across the 3 days that I was there.
Yeah. And I was
Literally.
like, all we're doing is promoting it. Like huge accounts like yours. I was like, all we're doing is promoting it. So I suggest that for the content creators next year, you offer a special wristband for content creators like media, but whatever. And then
Mhm.
also we have our own lounge where we can go and sit and do work and have a moment
Yeah.
and perhaps meet each other. You don't have to give us food or drink. We just want a place to go and like sit, because something would happen, and I imagine like you, I'm like, oh my gosh, well, where am I going to go and like sit to do this?
And edit. Yeah, that's how I was like trying to like listen to stuff, like if I was like editing and posting while I was there, because my whole thing is like if I don't post right then, I'll like forget,
I'll see it on my phone later and be like, well, now who cares?
Yeah,
It's too late.
exactly,
Now I'm
exactly.
tired.
So,
Now I'm tired. Yeah.
yeah, I even last year, because last year the craziness, like I had panic attacks at the New York one. I suggested like a chill lounge or something, like somewhere
Yeah.
where it's like a quiet zone. Like you go, it's just like
Yeah.
quiet vibes, like different Wi-Fi, maybe like specific Wi-Fi for that room, just so people can maybe, because also there might be people there like, husbands or moms or whatever that like maybe they need to go do some work, and be like, okay, I'm going to go do my thing. You do your thing. Yeah, I do think that some sort of break room or something, whether it be for content creators or just people that just need a sec, and just want to work on some stuff or do what they need to do, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my suggestion. I was like, for those of us that are there on our own dime promoting this network, like show us some love, because it's interesting. Like I talked to you, and in my mind, someone like you, well, they probably just gave you tickets, and you're like, no, I'm out there scrounging like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I like, listen, like I know people that obviously they do give some people tickets.
I know.
But I have not made it to that list yet, unfortunately.
No, I'll never make it to that list. All I'm asking is for a discounted wristband, know?
I just want to be there and have fun. And, I mean, also like when I was with Best of Bravo, Maggie, I mean, this sounds like crazy to say, but like there's so many people like even coming up and asking us for pictures, you know, and I was like, I
Yes.
wish that, but it's that way with a lot of creators there, like a lot. So I was like,
Yeah.
I think they should even have like a little creator booth where it's
Yeah.
like, you know, just like, it doesn't have to have like a schedule or anything, but like, this is like the BravoCon content creator booth. So Maggie could be like, oh, I'm going to the creator booth at 2. I'm going to the creator booth at 3. I could do the same thing. And then there we could have like fun, like silly photo ops or have like a
Yeah.
tagline game there, or, you know, just something.
Yeah.
And I think just to, you know, I mean, I don't know, because I saw people too that were like, oh, you know, I was look for you yesterday. I looked for you both, you know, first 2 days. And it, you know, as you said, you had a friend there and you didn't see them the whole time. Like
No,
I was
right.
the same way. I had people there that like that I've known from Twitter for years. We were in the same fucking building and didn't even see each other. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
insane. So yeah, I think some sort of connecting place or meeting place for, you know, the people that run the pages, because it has become like its own little world, you know.
Yeah,
There's
it's
so
like a
many of them at this
subculture.
point. Yeah. So
Yeah, for sure.
and
I
even
mean,
like I mean, they can loop podcast hosts in with all of that. It doesn't have to just be like the people that make little, you know, memes and stuff like me. It could be everybody under that
yeah,
umbrella, you know?
I think so, and I think that a lot of the complaints are there are some huge Bravo podcasters like you've got, of course, Crappens, you've got Ryan Bailey, Kate Casey, even Heather McDonald, like
Mhm.
lots of big Bravo podcasters, and they give them no love. They don't ask them to do panels or anything, which is fine. They have their favorites, and that's fine. But at the
Yeah.
very least, for those of us out here just promoting Bravo for 3 days on our own dime, all I'm asking is like, can you give us a little discount on a wristband?
Yeah.
'Cause we can't- yeah.
Or just guarantee us that we're going to get one. You know, so I ain't
Yes.
got to lose sleep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and start my BravoCon slush fund for next year because,
No,
my
let
God,
me.
I like
Honest to God, I was thinking the
broke.
same. Girl, I was thinking the same thing this week. I was like, I should probably just go ahead and like every week just put like a little bit aside, because when I started adding it up, I was like, and
Yeah.
can I be honest with you? I didn't even eat for like 3 days. I lived off the VI, and not because I wasn't trying to. I was just so fucking busy. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even, you know. And so I'm like, what did I even spend all this money on the entire time I was there?
I know. And I was like, I didn't at BravoCon itself. I think one day I bought one drink. Otherwise, I ate the ones that were in Bravo Palooza.
Mhm.
I drank the ones that were in the Bravo Palooza. And then I think in a VIP lounge, I think once or maybe twice, but I think just once I bought a drink. So I don't know where all the money went. I guess it was for dinners. I have no idea.
Yes.
But I am
Yeah.
so broke. I am so broke. I'm like,
Yeah,
nobody asked me for
everybody-
anything till January.
Seriously, I posted like a meme the other day. I was like, if you have people in your life that went to BravoCon, be gentle with them. We're broke and we're tired and we're emotional. It was a lot.
And half of us have COVID.
Yo, for real, a lot
You
of
and
people.
you and I don't. We were just talking about our
Yeah.
non-COVID status.
And do you know? I told you again. I had like roommates that were not at BravoCon. One of them tested positive for COVID, and we were in a
Oh.
room together. I've taken 3 tests and all came up negative.
I've taken 2, and now I'm out of the woods now.
Yeah,
I'm out of the
yeah.
woods.
I feel fine now, but I was really run down there for a couple days.
I was worried.
Really
I
run
was
down.
worried. And then I was worried because I was hanging out with Heather Gay in the airport. I was like, oh my God, what if I gave Heather Gay my
What if I gave a housewife COVID? Oh, how was Heather?
She was so great because we were leaving Las Vegas, as it were, and she and Angie K and Angie K's husband were in line with us, and then Heather went up to go to like a first class line, and then Ingrid, my producer, like ditched me because she has clear, and I was in TSA pre-check with Mandy Slutsker and her friend Jody,
Mhm.
and then we were like, huh, and as we went through, everybody ended up kind of in the same place, you know, no matter what line you were in, so we come through TSA pre-check, and there's Heather Gay just standing there by herself looking around. And we're like, hey, Heather. And she goes, oh, I was with Angie K and her husband. And were you guys at BravoCon? Oh, I lost them. So like they were handling her, and then they lost her. They had already gotten on like the tram to go over to
Oh
wherever the
God,
gate
yeah,
was, and they completely
yeah.
lost her. It was hilarious. It was
Yeah, it was
hilarious.
great. So I flew into Vegas early, so I didn't see anybody on my way in, but it was like still Bravo Leb Central on the like. I saw Mia was on my flight to Charlotte. I passed Kyle and a couple other people from Summer House. They were like in line at the pre-check line in front of me. Saw Marisol and her husband, and I got a picture with Alexia at the airport. And I mean, I was there. I wasn't even there that long. I was in and out. So,
That
Yeah,
and well,
it's just crazy.
once I got to my gate because we were going to DC, we had Candace and Ashley on the plane,
Oh,
and so Ashley was with, I guess her hair guy was the guy that was with her because we heard her like talking about what are we going to do for hair next week, and then Candace, when I tell you, you definitely would not know they ever knew each other because there was no speaking, and they were like one row in front of each other. They didn't speak, and then when we got to baggage claim in DC, Candace stood way off to the side, sunglasses, hat, and she had a like a driver that like went and got her luggage, and then Ashley was standing there with her guy, just like with us, like a baggage claim, like, "Hey, girl, what's up?" We
yeah.
were just chatting. Yeah,
Wow.
they were not speaking
Crazy.
at all. And now that I'm watching the season, I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Well, even
men,
I went to the Potomac panel at BravoCon, and they said that they were on the same flight
yeah,
to Vegas, and she said we didn't speak then
nope,
either.
mm-mm. And
She said they
Mandy,
would like literally pass each other in the airport and just not acknowledge each other.
That's what they're doing. And Mandy was on the plane with them both ways, and she was like, still, again, sitting right in front of each other, not speaking at all.
That is wild.
Yeah. So, another thing I want to get your thoughts on is Bethany's reality reckoning.
Oh,
I didn't feel it made any impact on BravoCon at all. It was
at
barely
all.
mentioned.
Hmm.
It was asked about, but it's sort of like, okay, what shocking information is she giving us here that people drink too much? I mean,
Yeah, and then I think that whatever PR people worked with Andy on his responses prior to BravoCon could not
yeah,
have coached him any better because he answered it perfectly. He was like, "Look, there are going to be mess ups in any, I think, realm of work and stuff." He was like, "But at the end of the day, you know, the good heavily outweighs any bad that was is not intentional, like, so
yeah,
it's just." He's like, and at the end of the day, I think we celebrate, women from all backgrounds and areas and cultures and, walks of
ages.
life. Yes.
Yeah,
And not even women, that's just on Housewives. I mean, across the Bravo, sphere, totally, it's all walks of people of
yeah,
life,
yeah.
all ages, from we literally see kids be born and we see senior citizens, I mean,
Yes,
really.
yes, yeah,
So, I mean, it's really, at the end of the day, Bravo has become a world where, they've provided a roster of talent that, we as viewers feel that we get to support and we get to love, or sometimes we get to hate and disagree with. But at the end of the day, we feel like we know them and we care
yeah,
about them. And I think that Bethany, being Bethany, will always try and put herself at the head of a movement that she thinks is going to get her attention.
uh-huh,
I mean,
right.
look, people might come for me for saying this, but like, even anytime she does charity work, she talks about it, whatever issue or catastrophe is going on in that moment for a little bit, and then it's dead silence.
Yeah.
You know, and I
Well,
just think that
unless she's
everything.
like pitching her like some makeup or going to TJ Maxx and trying to get somebody to buy her old makeup from her.
Oh my God, yes. So I just think that I've always thought everything she does is self-serving. So that's why I never took any of this seriously from the beginning, because I was like, this is only to, in some way, shape, or form, uplift herself. She wanted to
Mhm.
look like the savior that was coming in, and I mean, what I personally think all this comes down to is that, and I said this before, Bethany was probably the only housewife on Bravo in history that pretty much had a revolving door.
Yeah.
She could come and go whenever she pleased. I mean,
Yeah.
I honest to God think that they could be mid-season and Bethany could call and be like, I want to come fuck shit up. And they'd be like, sure. Like,
Yeah.
Bethany
Right.
always had the ability to come and go whenever she wanted without any hard feelings.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that right around the time of the reboot and stuff, and people are like, oh, so you're saying she's jealous of a reboot, like their viewership, da, da, da. It's like, no, I'm not saying she's jealous. I'm saying that for the first time when they did that reboot, and she probably got word from Andy or someone that there will be no older women involved, previous cast members, like this is an all new chapter and will be new forever. It is what it is. Was the first time she felt that door closed. It was
Yeah.
like, and it was, so like, look at a freshly fired housewife. They all are naturally a little bit bitter sometimes, and
And
rightfully so.
they panic, yeah, and they block everybody and all that, yeah.
Yeah, and then they go out, and that's when they start saying like, "Well, this was staged," and da 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 da, things like that.
Yeah.
It's like I said, Bethany is like a demoted housewife with a delayed reaction. It just
Yeah.
it took a long time for her to get to a place where she felt separated from the network, even though they kind of weren't together.
Right.
And I think that this was her only way she knew how to act, was to go balls to the wall.
It's wild too, because, all the, the word is out, she, right before all this, like months before, had pitched 4 shows to Bravo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she was okay with that,
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And the Leah McSweeney of it all, it's like, Leah, I wanted to like you. Why are you doing this?
I knew from Leah's first episode, I was like, nope. Nope. Red flag. I knew it. And people were like, get with the times. And I was like, no, fuck these like young bitches. I don't want to see this shit. I want to see some middle-aged women who have lived life and know what they're doing. I don't want to see this crazy woman throwing fucking tikis. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to like her. And, Bethany has been, for me, kind of like a Vicky. Like, I've always loved Bethany. I was like, Bethany can do no wrong. And it's a great point that you're making. She's the only one that we could think of that ever could just come and go as they please.
Ever. Yes.
Because she's such a champion, just a verbal ninja.
Yeah.
But she's done it now, man. Now we got to watch her sit in her closet and try to sell us makeup. You know?
I mean, she'll never ever be on any NBC affiliated project ever. I mean, I don't know what network would work with her at this point, because they're probably scared that she'll go scorched earth, like she did on Bravo. So
it's wild. Well, I thought that was interesting, that, we're going to put it out right before BravoCon. We're going to take it all down.
And we all saw that coming from a mile away, that it was going to drop right before BravoCon. And it was like, womp, womp. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Bethany, what else? Yeah, it makes me sad. It would be like if all of a sudden Vicky did something like that. It would break my heart.
I would die.
I would be so upset. I would be so upset. So I've had to come to peace with my situation with Bethany, my feelings. Now, currently on Housewives, we can talk about what's going on, but there's not much going on because, like you said, all these shows have kind of just started. Salt Lake's the only one that's sort of really getting pumping. Let's talk about this Salt Lake situation so we saw Lisa Barlow, one of the first episodes, on the way to the Trixie Motel, lost a $62,000 ring. Yes. Now, the rumor now is that somehow Monica picked it up and then quickly sold it and came into a bunch of money right now. What's your thought? What are your thoughts on this?
I do not think Monica took that ring. I think Monica might be corrupt. I don't think she's dumb and corrupt, because that would be dumb to do, number one, because if it comes back on her, someone posted this and she reposted. I was like, that's actually a really good point. Like, her salary for the show alone is probably more than that ring. So why would she jeopardize all future money that's going to come from the show and brand deals and appearances and things like that for the ring? You know what I mean? So I just don't even think.
And how would she sell it without it being traced back to? She's the one that she's going to take it to a pawn shop in Salt Lake City and be like, "Don't tell anybody it was me." Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that ring went right down the toilet, unfortunately. I don't think she took it.
And then what about this stuff that's just come out that she's the one, that she had sued Beauty Lab and Laser for like botched lip injections?
Yeah. I mean, it all makes sense when you look at, the footage from the trailer where Heather's like, what'd you find out? It's her. So it's like, it seems like she did it under a different name. Like, that's what's being alleged.
Because her mom said she changes her name a lot. I'm like, what's that about? What do you mean?
Yeah, what the fuck? I mean, even I saw a clip of her being interviewed at BravoCon, and she said that this reunion is going to be, she's like, it's probably going to be, it's going to involve things that have probably never been involved, like in Housewives, like things that people have done to each other. I'm like, it's about to be like dirty.
Yeah.
And like dark. And I'm like, oh God.
We thought it couldn't get any darker than Jen Shah.
Oh, I honestly don't think, I don't think we know how bad I think it's going to be pretty rough.
Well, I will tell you at BravoCon in one of the Bravo Palooza rooms, Meredith was there with Brooks and she was standing up at the front and then she was just like, I gotta like take a minute. So she walked back to the bar. So then had been standing there to get a picture with her. So I walked back to the bar, not to follow her, just to get a drink. And then
Hmm.
she just literally happened to be standing there, but her back was to me and nobody was talking to her or anything. I guess I don't know if they just didn't realize. So I got my drink and then I said to Brooks, I said, I want to give your when because she was like eating a slider. I said, I want to
Hmm.
give your mom a little gift. I have these portable hand fans. So he was like, oh, okay. So I handed it to Brooks. I stand there and talk to him. He's like, this is great. Oh my God. And finally, when she got done, eating, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bother you, but I would love to get a picture. I was trying to get one up there. And she's like, no problem. We stood there and talked for like, 5 to 7 minutes. She was perfectly lovely. I was like, I just think that there's like too many people in here and it gets a little like crowded at the front. She's like, well, if you think about it, there's like 7 Bravo Lebs in here and like how many people? So probably that is a good ratio. I was like, right, but I don't want to talk to cast member number C from Summer House, Martha's Vineyard or whatever. Like, I don't know who that is, kind of a thing. And she was like, wow. But she made a good point. She's like, if there's 7 Bravo Lebs in here and there's all of you, I was like, right, but you've got a Meredith Marks and a Sonia Morgan up front.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to talk to whoever. But she was
Wow.
interesting. She was very nice
Yeah.
because some people said that they met her and they found her to be a little dismissive. But I had a lovely conversation, and Brooks couldn't have been cuter and nicer. He was so
Yeah.
nice.
I didn't get to see Meredith. I did run into Brooks. He was a sweetheart. Also, I think for people that say like they're like distant or they're quiet, it's like people have to understand. Like I can't imagine how exhausted and tired they are of
And
talking
they're
to fucking anyone.
bombarded.
Yeah, and it's literally nonstop, and you know how like excited fans, like we all get
Yeah,
excited. So it has to be draining beyond belief,
yeah.
you know.
And they're in
So
those
my thing is like if
heels.
they're even
Yeah,
willing to take a picture and say hi, I mean, take that as a win.
yeah, yeah. I think so. I didn't find the only person that was rude at all to me was DJ James Kennedy, and I've told this story. He
Oh,
was just he was doing like little videos for every single person. Like people were like, "Oh, will you do like a shout out to mom?" I was like, "Shut up, mom." So I got
yeah.
up and I was just like, "Hey, thanks for the picture." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have a podcast where we love DJ James Kennedy, number one guy in the group." Like I was doing the whole thing with him. I was like, "Will you do
Hmm.
like a?" Because I saw him do all these videos. I was like, "Will you do a little video and just be like, hey, Bunky, da da da?" And he goes, "Um, podcast give me the ick. I think no." And then he turned around and
Ew.
I was like, "Excuse me." Didn't you have a podcast for a while?
What the fuck?
And so all the people in the line, of course, you like make friends in the line, and
Yeah.
all the people that were in the line with me were like, "Whoa, oh my gosh!" So then, as I walked off, I guess like, "Okay." As I walked off, he goes, "I mean, I'll do a video if it's for like your mother or for your sister or for like your small business or something." And I go, "This is my small business. This is my business.
Exactly.
It's a podcast." And he was like, "Okay," and all the people were kind of like, "Wow." So otherwise, and then somebody else, said they saw him at a restaurant and he was sitting there with his mom and Allie in the middle of a restaurant and they went up and they said very politely took a picture, walked off quickly, and as the person was walking off he yelled after them, "This is not a fucking meet and greet."
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then of course there's lots of stories about Shep being drunk at the
Oh, I've
Mandalay
yeah,
Bay.
I've read that. I've read a few people say that Shep wasn't nice, but I think maybe he was just drunk.
Yes, I ran into Shep at that same Gansevoort bar last year when he was just, yeah, he's like
Like
hanging
not
all
friendly.
over me. I'm like, I'm an old lady, like get off me.
Oh, like he was like drunk.
Oh, he was like passed out in a booth, and one of his
Oh
friends like had to wake him
God,
up, and he's like 7 feet tall. It was not
he
cute.
is. So, I mean, I saw him. He was just like walking around the VIP lounge like a normal person.
Yeah.
And but every time I saw him, he was like straight to the bar, straight to the bar. I was like, okay, do your thing, do your thing.
You're like, we would expect nothing less. We'd expect
I was
nothing
like,
less.
listen, I was pretty much the same way the entire time I was there, so it's okay.
Well, hopefully the Bravo higher ups will hear our prayers and at least do something for the content creators. And I heard you say it. I heard somebody else say it about having like at the Bravo Bazaar where all the booths are like kind of rotate in content. People would die
Yeah.
if they put you in a booth, put like Ryan Bailey in a booth. Walking around with Ryan Bailey was like walking around with Elvis. I was like,
Oh, I
I
believe
gotta
it.
go.
Yeah.
I was like, nobody knows who I am. I was like, I'm literally like wearing my name on my shirt. Like, look at me, look at me. For
I
like
love it.
3 times a day, I got, recognized or somebody said, I love that podcast. I'm like, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, look at
mine.
me. But so funny when we were in the VIP lounge, Ingrid, my producer, was like, there's Christian Grey Snow. And I was like, oh yeah. And she's like, go say hi, go say hi. I was like, I will. He's talking to somebody. Yeah.
No,
Because you're
that's my
recognizable
favorite part
too.
is meeting like other, either other Bravo content creators there or people that have, happen to follow me there. Like that to me is like honestly the highlight of BravoCon. It's just so fun, like sitting there and mingling and, never knowing
It's
who
just
you're
the
going to turn
happiest
around and bump.
place.
It honest to God, like there was no bad vibes once the entire weekend. It was beautiful.
Everybody's happy.
Beautiful. I hope to
Everybody's
God
happy
they
to
do
be
it in
there.
Vegas again next year. I
I
really
think
do.
they
I hope,
are.
yeah.
I
It
think
was
they
just
are.
too good.
Now, tell me really quickly about your regular job. Now, you work for a TV station in Charlotte. Are you like an
Mhm.
on-air personality?
So it's like a 4-hour morning news show. There's like 7 or 8 on-air talent members.
Okay.
I'm the bottom of the totem pole. So I'm like more of like a contributor. I pop in, like I have like a little segment twice a day that I do with one of the main girls named Lauren. But they originally hired me to run their social. So this is what happened. I was working on a national radio show that was based in Seattle. We were
Mhm.
syndicated in like 31 cities.
Okay.
They hired me there to run their social media. Day one, they put me on the mic, and I stayed on the mic over the whole year I was there. So I did social
Okay.
media and was on the show.
Yeah.
Then, out of the blue, my old boss, who was the executive producer from The Real when I worked at The Real in LA with Garcelle,
Yes.
she had randomly accepted a job to come lead a cluster of news stations in the Carolinas. And remembered this is where I was from.
Yeah.
Reached
Yeah.
out, was like, want a job? And so I was like, well, I'm really liking this like kind of avenue that I'm taking to being away from social and kind of being like a personality,
Yeah. Yeah.
So the deal was get here, we'll get you on air as soon as we can. Just help with our social because we have nothing. I was like, okay, cool. And I took it as, I got to move home. My parents are an hour and a half away. I'm an only child. So I was away for like 8 years. So it's nice to be close.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I get here and then like, I think like 2 weeks into it, they text me, can you be ready tomorrow? And I was like, sure, let's try it out. And then, yeah, every day since then now. So Lauren and I have our little segment we do twice a day.
What do you talk about on your segment?
Silly stuff, just silly, fun stuff. Cause like, I
Yeah.
mean, they do like a lot of hard news for like of those 4 hours. So we come
Yeah.
in and
Yeah.
liven it up a little bit.
Are you out there like giving like the snow report or talking about like what's happening at the holiday market or that kind of
I
thing?
I wish that I was giving the snow report. Speaking of the snow report, our meteorologist, bless her heart, she just had her first baby last week. So what she does, she always had like a weekly segment where we team up with one of the local animal shelters,
Yeah.
and they bring a pet to highlight of the week, and we try to get them
Oh,
adopted.
yeah.
So while she's out, she asked if I would like to do that weekly segment for her, and today was actually my first hit. So. Yeah, it's fun. I'm just kind of going wherever they put me.
Yeah.
I'm just taking it day by day, having fun. But it is really cool, like the amount of people. Like I've had people from like straight guys from my high school, because now that I'm
Yeah.
back in like my home area, DM me on Facebook like, "Yo, are you on TV?" I'm like, "That's me." Long time no see.
You just have to assume they sound like that because they're bros. They're like, yo, what's up, Christian?
Oh, they're bro and they're Southern. They're like, what the fuck?
I love it. Well, everybody, I don't have to tell you because you already know where to find Christian Grey Snow. And if you don't, just literally type in Christian Grey Snow. It'll pop right up. It has nothing to do with 50 Shades of Grey.
Nothing.
Although really up until 2 weeks ago, I thought it did.
Surprise.
Surprise, that's just your name.
Yeah.
And I beg all of you, please, to also follow me on Instagram at Pink Shade Pod.
Yes.
I just just one at a time, y'all. It's just like they say in AA, one day at a time. With me, it's one follower at a time.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
I'm trying. Everybody go follow Christian Gray Snow. And if you're in the Charlotte area, give him some love and go adopt one of those pets he's out there hawking.
Yes, I posted my first little segment or part of it on my Instagram this morning. So I was like, I'm gonna try and make a rule that I post it every week, just because I'm like, if I can do anything to help get the news out there, help get the puppies adopted, So, I mean, you never know. That might be somebody that follows me that lives in Illinois that has a relative here that they see a dog, they're like, hey, you never know. So.
I thought the end of the story when you were telling about the segment with the dog, I thought at the end of the stories you were going to like lean down and be like, and I adopted the dog. I thought you were going to pull up a dog from like below your desk.
I am considering, I have my little baby Abby. She's napping over there. I think the time has come to get Abby a sibling. So get her a friend. So we'll see.
I have two dogs. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It probably won't be long before I just walk right off camera from the segment and just keep the dog with me.
All right. Well, don't hang up, but we're going to hang up with this. And thank you very much, Christian. And I will see you next year at BravoCon.
Can't wait. I'm already ready.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.